I might have talked about this person before, but this is a completely different situation, so let's do this. There's a guy that goes to my gym, and he's also part of the like a pretty expensive mastermind down in Dana Point, California. And so I actually had met him at the gym before I met him at the mastermind. He had come up to me because I wear these shirts, I love them, that are from that group whenever I'm working out. And if you know that group or a part of that group, you know exactly what that shirt is. If not, it's good. It just maybe looks like a normal workout shirt. But he came up to me and we started chatting and talking and developed a friendship. And then I decided one of these months I decided to go to the group, and he was there. We talked and really connected. And then when I came back, we ended up connecting again at the gym, and gosh, we were talking probably 30 to 45 minutes, to the point where I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. You need to get your workout done. But there are certain people that I just know they're going to be great. And I don't know why. I will just start helping them. And it's not everybody, but there's just something in my intuition where I will give them advice, or I will help them in some way. In fact, there's a fighter that goes to one of the gyms that, I don't know, I was just like, dude, you're really cool and you're inspiring me, and I ended up buying tickets for him. The thing about this guy, though, that's part of my group, he suffered from what I suffered for a long time, for decades. No matter how much money I made, no matter how I looked in the gym, no matter how social I tried to be, there was always a disconnect between, I would say, my mind, my heart, and my physical body. There would always be this underlying fear pattern that I'm not good enough, I'm an imposter, what I'm saying, somebody's gonna find out that what I'm saying is wrong, even though it's not. Even though everything that I'm talking about on video, and keep in mind, I've for almost a decade, I made my money off of webinars and being on video, or being on stage, or being in front of clients. I would have this feeling, even though it wasn't true, that I was going to be found out. That imposter syndrome, right? And so when I would see, we were friends on Instagram, and when I would see his videos for the things that he's doing, I would see it, and I knew he was suffering from that same exact thing. That he didn't truly believe what he was saying. He didn't truly believe in himself, even though everything he was saying was absolutely true. Everything he was saying, because I know him, everything he was saying was absolutely true, and he really sincerely wanted to help people, and had the skill set, and had the knowledge, and had the capability. There was still this underlying sense of not being who he was saying he was, not believing that he could deliver the results that he could deliver, not believing the things that he was saying. And I could feel it, and I told him at the gym when I started talking with him, I'm like, dude, I love your content, however, and I did it in what's called Gestalt. Gestalt. In entrepreneur organization, the way that you give advice is through Gestalt, which is you don't say you. You actually give a story about yourself. You start talking about yourself. And then if it resonates with the person, it's much easier to digest, right? So I said, back when I started doing content, and it wasn't really up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago that it was fixed, I suffered from, and I started going through that feeling of being disconnected from my mouth would be saying one thing, that I'm confident, I make at the time make 6 figures, and then when I started drop shipping, I made 7 figures and blah blah blah, and I'm confident. But internally, it was, oh, you're gonna be found out, and you're gonna be a liar. You're lying. You're this. You're that. My body was like, no. But I had to push through in order to actually, help people. And so I started explaining that, and he said, I suffer from the exact same thing. I started explaining also that I had this pattern that as I'm talking with people, I would be in my head. I'd be thinking, what are they thinking of? I need to think of what to say. What are they thinking of me right now? I need to act confident. I need to act cool. I need to be funny. What can I say to that? Oh, they just said that. And I'd be calculating in my head, and it would trip me up. I could never be in the flow. Then I would act weird, and then I would act creepy. I'd act odd, and then people wouldn't want to talk to me, obviously. And so there is an epidemic in America, possibly more, of fear. And that fear is trapped in our body. And it would cause me to go into my head, because I couldn't feel really my body as I was talking with people. I'd be in my head, and I'd be calculating, and then I couldn't even feel like any part of my body at all. And as I was explaining this, he said that he had that exact same feeling. Lo and behold, right? And I shared with him the things that changed the game for me. The first one was the idea of releasing, which I've shared before. There's a guy named Brian Begin, Brian, and then Begin. It looks like begin, but it's Begin. And he runs a thing called Fearless Man. And one of the, there's all these pickup artists, all these dating coaches, all of these people who teach social dynamics and so on, but a lot of them, they just focus on what to say, this technique, that technique, and so on, right? He was very different. When you look at him, if you were just to see a picture of him, he's not a good-looking dude. Like from a, I don't mean to be rude, but he's not somebody that, like, even for me, like, he's not, like, I'm nothing physically compared to, say, Chris Hemsworth, or what's the Superman guy, I always forget his name, or some of the Spider-Man actors and so on. And so you see someone physically, and you have this assumption, right, of how they're going to talk, how they're going to act. But when you see him talk, if you go and search the Fearless Man, and you see him talk, you feel relaxed, you feel comfortable, you feel like he's authoritative, and he's not yelling, he's not being this alpha male character, but you want to listen. You want to learn from him. He's calm. He's collected. You can feel that he's in his body. You can feel like all of him is coming at you. And he's fully present. Through a video. That's crazy. And so I started listening to him, and one of the things that was the game changer for him, because he suffered from what I suffered, game changer for him was the idea of releasing. The idea of revealing and releasing. There are things in our body that are trapped, these fear patterns, these energies, these things that are trapped within our body that cause us to react. We all know those specific certain people who you say one thing and they'll either react with anger, sarcasm, they'll shut down, they'll react in some way. Maybe you have a uncle who is a Trump supporter and you talk about Biden, or there's a Biden supporter and you talk about Trump, and immediately something comes out. Those are patterns, those are triggers, those are things that are literally their unconscious, subconscious mind is taking over for protection. Once I realized that, I was like, dude, I need to figure out how to change this. So I start talking with my friend, and he had that same pattern. And so I shared with him the Fearless Man and revealing and releasing. And, Fearless Man has, if you go search, there's a lot of meditations that you can do that allow you to reveal and release that stuff. Sometimes you might even get sick doing it because your body is reacting and letting go finally of that stuff. The next thing was breath work. I'm going to share the things that are easily accessible. There's other things that I've done, but the next thing was breath work. Breathe with Sandy, which I've mentioned before on my videos. Breathe with Sandy. If you do one that's called the breathwork journey, and you do that every so often, you will have emotional reactions. You will have releases that just happen on their own. And it's hard. You're gonna feel cramping. You're gonna feel sick maybe in the very beginning. I remember the first time I ever did breath work, I cried for like 15 minutes straight, and I could not help it. I didn't even know why I was crying. It was just coming out. And then I could barely walk. Afterward, I had to crawl, because I was doing it in a room with people. I had to crawl, and I could barely even crawl because I was shaking so much. There was so much that was being released that I had to crawl to where we were sitting down to talk about our experience. It was crazy. But after that moment, you could throw anything at me. It could be somebody rejecting me as a friend. It could be, I had one of my rental properties almost got burnt down to the ground. I had, at the time, I had a big customer leave. I had a whole bunch of just stuff, just boom, 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 all at once happening. And what would have been this freak out moment ended up being, okay, well, it'll all work out. And shocking to myself, I've never reacted that way. It was always like, okay, well, I need to go work harder. I need to go do this. I need to go do that, and find some way to fix it all. And it was like, no, it'll work out. And the crazy thing is, it did work out. It all worked out. It worked out way better than I could have ever imagined before. And so I'm sharing this stuff with him. And what do you think he did? he's one of the very few people, the 1%, who actually did what I had suggested. He started doing the different things to get into his body and all that other stuff. And I had started to notice on his Instagram, his videos were awesome. He looked more sincere. He, like, when I was listening to him and seeing him, I'm like, dude, this guy is a different person. And turns out that he started doing breath work, started doing revealing and releasing. And I didn't go to this last meetup, but he was talking to everyone saying, yeah, I saw Dean at the gym and started doing these practices to release all this stuff and to shift things. And they noticed the change in him. They noticed how much more powerful he showed up. And so, a lot of the times, the reason you're not able to do the things you want to do is because you have these unconscious patterns, these subconscious patterns that are holding you back and limiting you. And they can't be solved with this. This is where I am very much an intellectual person. I wanted to get my master's degree in philosophy. I went for it. I ended up getting deployed during that time, so I couldn't continue. I love reading and learning. I nonstop learning. And so this, I thought, was the most powerful tool that I had in my arsenal. But it wasn't until revealing and releasing and opening up this, the heart and my gut and my intuition, that I started to see, oh my gosh, there is so much more. There is way more when you have all of these things working together within your body. There are times when I can sense when somebody is needing something. Like the fighter, the guy that I just saw. I ended up buying 4 tickets for him so that his friends could come and support him. And he actually texted me as I was driving saying, Dean, thank you so much. I was praying about this, and you really just made my day, man. I appreciate it. I don't know. I just had a feeling to do it, and I did it. And look at how blessed that was. When my friend who started listening and taking action and revealing and releasing that stuff and using breath work, using different things like that, it broke those patterns, and you could sense it, you can feel it, and he's becoming more successful because of that. He had one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, and now the brake's gone. Now the brake is off. He has his foot on the gas, and he is crushing it already. Do you have your foot on the gas? More than likely you do. More than likely you do. Start getting rid of these fear patterns. Start getting into your body. Start getting into feeling what you should be doing rather than thinking about what you should be doing and what you should be saying. And I never thought I would say this before. I never thought I would be somebody who valued that, because this was so important to me. Start getting into your body. Research the Fearless Man. Go on YouTube. Search Fearless. I would say, like, search the Fearless Man releasing, and you'll come up with all the meditations and stuff. Start practicing them. And then start breath work. Start doing breath work. Things that allow you to get into your body. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's going to, you're going to be like, why am I doing this? But the more and more you do it, the more and more you're going to see the benefit. You're going to see just how powerful you can be, just how loving you can be, just how connected you can be, just how present you can be. And the more that you have those things, the more you are going to make more money, have better relationships, be more successful. It is inevitable, because you're not just calculating in your head. you're feeling, you're going with the waves, the energies, the vibrations, the whatever you want to call them, of what's happening internally and what's happening externally with other people. And talk about being able to read minds. You'll be able to read minds, clients' minds, prospects' minds. Imagine if you could read your prospect's mind, know exactly what they need, be able to deliver exactly what they need. You will make more sales than you could possibly imagine.